This is Cali Day.
Welcome to the MNO Show with Dante Tomei, head brewer.
What's this place called again?
All right. Welcome to the MNO Show with Dante Tomei, head brewer of Tarantula Hill.
What's up?
Wow.
Welcome.
Hey, glad to finally be here.
Yeah, it's
So,
amazing.
It's been a little bit to try to get the schedules together.
Yeah.
Thanks for making the beers that we drink a lot of on the show.
Thanks for letting me make the beers that that you guys get to drink.
Awesome.
That's
So,
fun.
let's start with how did you get into brewing?
I mean, a lot of other brewers. It's you're young, you're in high school, pretty much. You can't buy beer, so what do? You start making it.
I don't know if that's like a lot of people.
I mean, a lot of the brewers
You
that
actually-
I know, that's
you actually started brewing beer?
I started brewing beer probably at like 17.
No way.
Yeah, because couldn't buy it. Couldn't go to the store and just be like, hey, let me get a 6-pack of Coors Light or something. So it was at homebrew shops. You can buy all the ingredients. Doesn't matter. And as long as you have the pots and pans that we were brewing in to do it, you can make the beer.
Wow.
And it's not that hard. Like, homebrewing's harder than what we're doing here because if you want to make a good homebrew, you got to be really clean. But yeah, I mean, I started about 17, and I think our first beer that I brewed was a apricot Hefeweizen.
Wow.
Because I didn't really know anything about beer. I was like, oh, that sounds like I could drink a bunch of that. Turned out terrible. Second one was a Russian Imperial Stout that turned out to be like 11.5% or something. Brewed it with my buddy Gil. And it like didn't finish off fermenting because you gotta keep it all at certain temperatures and everything, and it was the winter, so it got too cold and we ended up putting it up in an attic. It re-fermented and ended up at like 11%. We tasted it later and ended up drinking a few bottles and ended up throwing chairs at walls. It was a mess. But yeah, that's how I got started. It wasn't too much different than I think a lot of other brewers start out as.
That's interesting.
How old
Yeah.
did you say you were?
17,
Yeah.
18. Yeah.
Like, did your parents know you're brewing beer? They didn't care, or you
Yeah.
were hiding it up in the attic?
Actually, my dad was like, oh yeah, I used to brew beer too. So he's like, oh yeah, I have a couple of carboys that you can use, and as long as you get them back to me, you can have them, you know. So
That's cool.
they were supportive of it, actually. And then that wasn't even where I went from there. I thought I was going to be a teacher or something, and got lucky enough to get in this industry later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you went to school to be a teacher?
That's what I was going to try to do. I
Okay.
did a lot of childcare stuff, so YMCA, Boys and Girls Club,
Right.
before, during, after school. And then I just couldn't deal with the parents anymore.
The kids were fine. It was the
kids
parents.
were great. Kids were amazing. But dealing with the parents was like, oh, little Johnny, I saw little Johnny hit somebody in the face.
No, that
And
was
the
my
pa-
little Johnny for sure.
And the parent would come back and be like, no, he said he didn't do it. What? I saw him do it. He was like, no, he didn't do it. So I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I got to get out of here.
That's tough.
And I had a buddy that worked at Stone Brewing Company. So I just gave him a call one day. I was like, hey, are you guys hiring? Just kind of want to transition into something different.
Right.
And I ended up getting hired as the first person on second shift bottling line at Stone. And
Okay.
yeah, just went from there.
So you mean that it was the first time they just decided, like, hey, we need to run a second shift on
Yeah.
the bottling line?
Yeah, so I ended up
You were like the first guy in that new program.
Yep, I ended up halfway covering first shift and second shift, because by the time first shift was done, there wasn't a whole lot to do because I was maybe one or two of us on second shift. So it was a lot of sweeping, a lot of mopping, a lot of cleaning machines. But in between, I learned how to run all the machines too. So, yeah.
For our viewers, can you tell everybody what that sound is that we always hear in the background that sounds like?
It's AC/DC.
Did
That is the serving tanks pouring on the bar. So we have 5 serving tanks here, 20 barrels each. And when you pull the tab on the bar, then it pours off of those serving tanks. So straight from those tanks to the bar, which is pretty cool. Yeah, it saves us a lot of work. We don't have to put things into kegs. We don't have to clean kegs.
So basically, that's the sound of money.
Yeah.
Every time that's going
Cha-ching,
hits.
cha-ching, cha-ching.
Pretty much.
What specifically though? Because that part is clear. Because people ask me all the time. And that's what I tell them.
Yeah.
That version of it. Is that the CO2?
It is the
off or something?
CO2. So the pumps are actuated by CO2. So the CO2 is pushing the beer through those lines to the beer taps.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and it's going up and over, so it's a pretty long draw. Probably 30 plus feet up and over.
Yeah.
These, I don't know, probably 20 feet up in the air and over.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got to travel a little bit away.
Okay, so then you left off at a second shift of bottling line.
Second shift
Or
bottling
canning?
line.
Was
Yeah.
bottles
so
or cans?
bottles. So we didn't
Bottles.
even have cans at that point.
Wow.
We were running 2 old bottling lines from the 70s.
Like Laverne and Shirley shit.
From what I've heard, that the story is that they were actually on Laverne and Shirley.
Those bottling
Yeah,
lines?
Wow.
they found them in some field in somewhere in the Midwest.
What was that, Milwaukee?
I think so.
Laverne and Shirley?
I feel like it was.
Yeah, like what was that
Did
beer?
they film it there though?
in Milwaukee?
Oh yeah, I mean Milwaukee
the-
has a big brewery.
Yeah, it was because like
Big
the
brew
Milwaukee
town.
Brewers, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't
So
that where
that-
Laverne and Shirley was?
I'm not sure. I don't know that
I wonder
I've
if they
actually
filmed
ever
it
seen
here.
Laverne and Shirley.
I'm sure they filmed. Yeah, like the set was probably in
But it was
Hollywood or
supposed to
whatever.
be,
But
like-
when they were on the bottling line,
It's definitely like a Midwest kind of
yeah, they
feel.
filmed. Yeah, like the
Yeah.
exterior shots were somewhere in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't
So-
I think what was Laverne? Just real quick, she just died.
Oh really?
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
I believe
know
it was
that.
Shirley, and I don't remember what the actress's name was.
I don't know that I've actually ever seen that show.
No, you haven't.
Yeah.
It was a spin-off of Happy Days.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was a spin-off.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a Happy Days spin-off. I think I might be tripping. Yeah, because Lenny and Squiggy were the guys, whatever, and they were also from Happy Days. I might be tripping on this, but we'll have to
pull that
fact
up.
check that one, Josh. Anyways, but yeah.
But yeah,
sorry. That is actually the
that
bottle line.
that is the story that
Okay.
I've been told. And from what they looked like, I would not doubt it.
Yeah.
They were very old machines. We had a maintenance crew that would run on them all the time. While we had one that did 22-ounce bottles, one that did 12-ounce bottles, and when we weren't working on one, they were working on the other one because there were just so many parts, moving parts, and fill tubes and everything that would get bent while you're running, and glass everywhere.
Oh.
My ritual after work when I was running those was to heat up tweezers, spray them with alcohol, and just pick glass out of my hands for the last half an hour of my shift.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it was fun.
So how did you progress from there to actually?
So it
brewing?
was just going through the motions. I didn't know that I actually really wanted to leave the packaging side because I was very comfortable there. I'd learned everything. I liked my bosses. I liked my coworkers. But still looking for a challenge, and I liked brewing before. I stopped home brewing as soon as I started at Stone because I just couldn't go home after a full day, 8-hour day on a can line and being around beer and just brew again, you know.
Right.
Home brewing's hard. It's a lot of cleaning, a lot of work, so I couldn't do it. But eventually started to move up, went to the keg line. So I worked on the keg line there for about a year and a half, and it was cool, but probably my least favorite job I've ever had in a brewery. So monotonous. Just take a keg off, throw a keg on. Take a keg off, throw a keg on, and it washes the keg, fills the keg, kicks it onto a pallet, and then you put it on a truck. So I did that, and then decided I wanted to be an assistant brewer. So applied for that job, got that job, yeah, and just kind of from there, just moved my way on up through Stone, up to brewer, up to supervisor in the brewery, and then before I left, I was packaging supervisor again. So just did a little bit of everything
Full
there.
circle.
Yeah, I had a good time. Learned a lot. Met a lot of people. Met Mike there. Met my wife there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't change it, but it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What amazing, education. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think
you were
I could have
getting
learned
paid to
what
learn
I
all that,
did.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think I could have learned what I did in a school.
Right.
100%.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, and obviously Stone is like, one of the.
They were the coolest brewery around when
Yeah.
when I was younger. You
Yeah.
know, that's the brewery that you wanted to go work at. That's
Yeah.
the beers you wanted to drink. They had Arrogant Bastard. They had Stone IPA.
Yeah.
All these other cool collaborations and
Yeah.
seasonals.
They spun out a lot of brewers too, right?
Oh yeah, we're all over.
Yeah, where are they?
We have friends in Spain. We have friends in Mexico. One of our friends was the head brewer at Guinness at one point for the U.S. We're literally pretty much any state that we go to, we could find somebody that we worked with at this point.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's really cool. Create a great network, and that's one of the coolest things about this industry too. Is that I feel like a lot of really good people flock to this industry.
Yeah, and like so talk a little bit too about Mitch, like how he, like obviously like with his pedigree, where he came from, how he created that system at Stone that is so sort of like, I don't, just
Yeah, I mean he wrote the book
Yeah.
on IPAs. Literally wrote the book.
yeah,
The dude is a genius. And you guys have had the fortunate, John, you've been able to talk to
Yeah.
him, and he's very free with his advice,
Yeah.
and just one of the nicest people you will ever meet.
Yeah.
I could call him up to this day and be like, hey, it's Dante. He'd be like, oh, how you doing? Haven't talked to you in a while. What do you need? If I need a recommendation, or I have a question about a process or anything like that. And he was very big on everybody having that same mentality
Yeah.
of a collaborative environment,
yeah,
and just being welcoming to people, even though it's an industry that, if you look at the bigger breweries like Anheuser-Busch, it's very different. That's where he came from, and I think he probably realized he didn't like that as much and wanted to create his own kind of thing.
yeah. He's like created a culture, and it's interesting like getting to meet, obviously you and Mike, and then through you guys meeting all the other guys that you work with there, and like everyone has the same mindset.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and it's so like that culture that was created there is just pretty amazing.
Yeah, we worked with some amazingly talented people.
Yeah.
Whether they're in Ventura County now, a lot of the brewers from Stone worked at. A lot of the brewers from Ventura County worked at Stone for a long time. So it feels very comfortable for me coming up here as well, because there's people that I know, and I'm very familiar with the styles of beer and everything that's up here. It was fun.
All right.
Had a lot of good times there.
Let's drink some beer.
Yeah, let's drink some beer. We're good. Come on in.
Amber
Let's go.
Indigo.
Some beers.
Nice. Let's drink some beer.
For you, handsome.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, enchanté.
All right, we got to make sure that you guys put them
Well,
the right way.
I know. Not.
Oh shit. Okay, cool. So you know how this goes, right?
So I'm just saying what is ours and what isn't.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
but this time around, since
Say what
You
the
have
beer
a-
is, if I can.
you are going to try to guess which one's the Tarantula Hill beer
So it's a double win.
and what it is, which you should be able to do, and then just make you try to guess the tap beer or the guest tap as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's tough. I don't even know what's on.
And it's been a while since somebody's won my car, so if
Yeah.
you get them
Okay.
all right, you get
All
a.
right. What do you drive?
It's a 2012 Lexus CT 200H, little hybrid.
Okay.
So you might walk away with a little hybrid.
All right.
We'll have to score this one a little bit different, but
Okay.
we're making you work.
All right. What are we starting with?
we usually start with the 2 T's.
All right.
All right.
We're gonna put Jeff on the spot tonight too. You're
All
gonna
right.
try and guess.
John's
start-
starting to
I'm
think
sorry with
I'm
my
getting
left.
cocky over here. I'm like, yeah, I got that one. Well, you never told me.
Well, Jeff, you do these all the time, and you definitely drink our beer a lot, so you definitely have a palate for it.
All right. Left T is Red Widow.
Ding, ding, ding. Not only did he get the T Hill, but he named the beer.
The right's a little different. It tastes. Yeah, I'm.
What's it taste like?
Well, so there's kind of a difference, right? Like, so the one on the right is an Irish red.
Okay. So that's maybe from like. Yep. So Artifacts, right? Artifacts, Bog
Artifacts,
Trotter.
Bog
So
Trotter.
we're doing the collab with them here in the next couple weeks.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
Them,
amazing.
Virgin, and Craft Coast together. It's gonna be
A 4-way.
yeah. We're gonna do a 4 brewery collab double brew day. So we're gonna brew on the 20 barrel and the 5 barrel on the same day.
Nice.
So
Are
it
you
should
gonna
be a fun
double
one.
brew on the 5?
We're just gonna do a single brew, but we're
Okay.
gonna do a cool Mexican lager on that
Oh,
one.
okay, different beer.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Oh, that's rad. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So one exclusive for here, and then
Yeah.
one that's gonna go
For
out to
distro.
everybody. Yeah.
Which tell them about the name of that beer, which is genius.
Pretty great. Danker Man.
Danker Man.
Danker
Oh,
Man.
nice.
They're all buddies from San Diego that we all know. So it works, you know.
Yeah.
It's there was
Josh, can you throw up the Danker Man can right here? Be like pretend like Dante's holding him as he will have the artwork pop up. Yeah. The Danker Man.
yeah, Danker Man. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
We'll put some really cool hops in there. We haven't finalized that yet, but all these breweries that we're working with make great beer too. So it's gonna be really fun to collaborate on a really fun recipe and do some new hops in there, and
Yeah.
it'll be cool.
So well, tell us a little bit about the Red Widow.
Red Widow is a beer that I love. Like it's all the flavors of a beer that was really one of the first beers that I really liked. Was you go back to other beers in San Diego that I was trying at the time when I first started in beer. Their what was it? Alpine had a red. AleSmith had a red rye. This is a red rye IPA, 6.66%. It's a little spicy from the rye, a little earthy. It's got Citra, Chinook. It's a fun beer. It just brings me. It's an old school beer, but it works out for everybody because it's got all the caramel malts in it. It's not too overbearing. It's just a fun beer to drink.
It is really good. It's funny. We just had Brittany on from Naughty Pine. She was telling us basically she uses rye in a lot of her beers, and I was mentioning that you're a rye guy. You love rye.
Yeah.
Do lots of rye stuff.
On that small system for sure. It's
Yeah.
not. I don't think it's something that really lends great to distribution
Yeah.
because it is a little polarizing. It will. It'll turn some people off for sure.
Yeah.
It's a little harsh for some people. Other people, if you can appreciate the nuances in a rye, like a whiskey or just rye malt in general, rye bread, all that kind of stuff, then you'll like a beer like this.
Sorry.
Would it be a brewer's beer? Is there such a thing?
I think that's fair to say. Yeah, I think it's a brewer's beer.
Yeah.
It's on the lower side of the ABV, so you can drink it too. When I say lower, 6.6%. But if you're thinking about other IPAs, you're getting a lot of 7.5s, almost 8% for that. So, yeah, I think it's a brewer's beer.
All right.
And then so then if you can, what would be the difference? Like what makes an Irish red? Like why is the Artifacts?
They're
Bog
definitely not using. I wouldn't say definitely, but I don't think they're using rye in that. It's going to be a little bit more on the malty side, a little bit sweeter. The red rye IPA, an Irish red isn't going to be as hoppy, but the red rye will be hoppy. It'll have that little spice bite at the back end.
Yeah.
This should be a little bit maltier, a little sweeter, probably a little bit less bitter, a little bit easier to just like chug a bunch of it if you wanted to, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That is all insanely accurate. 'Cause it's definitely just very malty and definitely not hoppy.
Yeah.
And it's really good.
Yeah, I like that beer too.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Another one of those beers that a lot of people don't have on because it's not the most popular beer, but when we don't have a red on or we don't have a darker amber or something like that on, we get a lot of bartenders coming to us being like, hey, when is that beer going to come back? Because we get questions about it all the time.
Yep.
So it's a great beer for us to have on because it'll stay on for a little while and it appeases a lot of people.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of guys come and ask for that.
Yeah.
For a red.
A lot of the old heads.
Exactly, older dudes. Reds and browns too.
Yep.
So,
Josh, which side does Dante have to point at? Because he scored, what, 2 points on that? I mean, he got the
You're gonna
Ding, ding, ding.
up in your right hand corner. If you want to give it, perfect. Give me like a excited. Here we go. Like, there you go.
All right, should we move to the H's?
let's do it.
All right.
H.
H. Huh?
I'm going to go left is our beer. I'm going to say, I don't know. Could be Cali Day. Seems a little too hoppy for that, though. Ooh, I don't know. Right kind of tastes like jackalope. Is right jackalope?
You're close. You're close.
Pilsner.
Yeah.
All right.
The right is the Pilsner.
Then the left is not our beer, and that is something hoppier.
That one is branching out.
Okay.
It's an everywhere.
It's great. It's got really good aroma to it. That's why I thought it was one of our beers.
And they're claiming modern Pilsner.
Okay. So
What
it's
is that?
hoppy.
What does that mean, modern Pilsner?
I would probably call it a hoppy pilsner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty hoppy.
It's a really good beer. I think it doesn't bring out that pilsner malt, but it's a great beer.
Yeah.
Going back to this one, the pilsner definitely comes out in the Conejo Pilsner.
What do you mean by the Pilsner comes out? What are you?
So pilsner malt, it's a lighter malted. It's going to be one of the lightest malts that you can get. That you're going to get that light color from. We add a couple other malts in there as well to kind of balance it out. But yeah, for a lighter beer like a pilsner or a lager, you're going to use a lot of pilsner pale malt. So you're not picking up a bunch of color there, too much sweetness or anything like that. And they're using different yeasts. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of yeast they're using over here on the Everywhere beer as well.
Right.
Yeah, both really good beers.
So that was 2.
One for 2.
2 for 2. You corrected the ship there.
I'll take a half a point on that one.
Okay.
1.5.
I'll allow it.
So does he have to point on both sides?
No, give him that's a win.
I think it's a win.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I forgot to say what is Pilsner.
That's true. Give me a point up back to your right corner. There you go.
Okay, let's do B.
All right.
All right, B.
Double B's.
Double B's. Wow. Color and clarity is pretty similar.
Very similar. Now I'm going B as jackalope.
Which B?
B on the left.
B on the left. Incorrect.
Damn it. Does that mean B on the right is jackalope?
B on the right is jackalope. You definitely knew where we were going.
They both had that little hoppiness and the pilsner to them.
Exactly. This one is a German Pilsner,
Okay.
and ours, the
It's
jackalope,
Czech.
is Czech.
Yep. So it's basically
They're
pilsner,
Yeah.
but with hops added. So we add peacherine hops, which is a new hop from New Zealand, which brings out some nice like peach, fuzzy peach notes and tangerine in there. And then there's some mosaic in there as well to kind of just get it to pop a little bit. But yeah, that would make sense why the German one is a little bit more. It gives you that little tang at the back.
Yeah, and that one is by Everywhere. It's called Feels Like Home, German Pilsner.
Nice. Yeah, they make really good beer. I got to meet those guys last weekend when we were down at the Docent Field Trip Fest.
Okay, cool. Is that how this takeover came
I'm
about?
not sure how this came about, but they were really cool.
Nice.
They didn't mention anything about it, but maybe the guy that was there didn't know. But they had some great beers down there too.
Yeah, I think Ollie set this up. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think Jackalope has been one of my favorite beers that
Yeah.
I've brewed in the past few months.
Yeah.
It's been a fun one. And when you're brewing a pilsner or a lager, you're waiting 5-6 weeks to see how that beer turns out. And then if it turns out good, you're really happy. If
Yeah.
it doesn't turn out, then you're like, shit, what did I do here? You know,
Yeah.
6 weeks and this beer is not what I wanted it to be. But this one has turned out to what I wanted it to be.
Yeah, Jackalope's amazing. So is the Conejo Pilsner. I mean, those
Yeah,
ones are rad.
Getting into the lagers and the pilsner has been really fun for us.
Yeah.
I think we've done a pretty good job at it for not coming up through Stone. We didn't do too many lagers or pilsners or any kind of beers like that. So it was IPA all the time.
Right.
Bitter IPAs. And what we brew here is not that type of beer anymore. We're getting into those lagers. We're getting into more balanced IPAs, getting into very low bitterness in our IPAs, more smooth and drinkable, clean.
Yeah.
How fast does it take for an IPA?
IPA grain to glass is probably about 14 days, maybe a little
Okay.
longer sometimes. A pilsner can be anywhere from 5 to 7 weeks, depending on when you're tasting it, when you like it, when you want to put it out. So
Okay, let's move on to C. These ones are IPAs.
all right.
So we moved up into the IPA world. Speaking of IPAs. Jeff knows this one. You got this one?
I feel like Tarantula Hill one's on the right.
C on the left is Cali Day.
Oh, is it?
On the nose.
I was wrong.
This is Cali Day.
Actually, I've been wrong on a lot of them this time around.
Isn't it crazy that Cali Day is one of the most distinct
It's
ones?
a very distinct beer
Yeah.
because of that hop laurel that a lot of
Yeah.
people don't use, and I think it's underutilized. But it's such a great hop. It's so floral. It's so lemony. It's distinct, like you said.
Yeah.
It'll set your beer apart. But it's a little polarizing. Some people love it. Some people hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the episode with Chef when you were like, "Okay, that's Cali Day," and he tasted it. He's like, "That is not Cali Day." He's like,
I think we had the blonde.
yeah, it was the blonde. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, "That's not. I don't know what that is, but that's not Cali Day." He knows Cali Day.
Oh
Like
yeah.
the back of,
That's
his,
Chef's beer.
That's
Yeah.
his jam. He
Yeah.
loves Cali Day.
So that's a hop combination that we love right there. It's
Yeah.
laurel and mosaic, and
Laurel
they
and
just
mosaic.
play really well together.
Yeah.
Create a very balanced hop profile to me. It's not overly grassy or green. It's just
Yeah.
very floral. That hop punch in there.
It's like you
turns
said,
out really nice.
like definitely have the hot punch, but not bitter.
Yeah.
Not like Yeah, it's very.
So when we were coming up with this beer, we were trying to figure out a name. And Cali Day, like when you drink a beer, when I try to come up with a name, I'm thinking of when you drink the beer, what does it kind of evoke? What does it bring out? You know, and I'm like, oh, I just want to drink this beer on the beach on a nice sunny day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, nobody in California actually says Cali. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But you say Cali Day, and I'm like, oh, that rings. It's a good flow to it. So it worked out great for a beer.
Yeah, California Day versus a Cali Day. Like Cali Day implies it's a good day.
Yeah.
It's a Cali Day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you can hear
That's
Ice
international, I
Cube.
think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Ice Cube talking about it's a good day. It's a
Right.
Cali Day, you know?
There it is.
Like, okay.
What was the other C?
Sorry. The other C was another everywhere.
Okay.
Like I said, we have a tap takeover. That one is called Simplicity,
Okay.
and it's a West Coast IPA as well.
I'm enjoying their beers. Their beers are really nice.
Yeah, it's good. Everywhere.
This has come up a few times. I've asked John, but I kind of want to get your perspective on it. Why is the brewing industry so collaborative?
I think it stems from a lot of people that have worked jobs that they don't like, and that have just come together and they want to see, and it's a lot of friends, you know, they just want to see their friends do well. And when you're getting together and once you do a collaboration one time, you just want to keep doing it.
Okay.
Because it's your friends getting together, you're having some beers, you're throwing around ideas, you're learning new things every time. That's one of the things we try to take every time we do a collaboration is whether it's here or at another brewery, is can we learn something from it? Can we learn a new way to dry hop? Can we learn a new process on the brew house that we never really thought of that somebody else is doing? Can we make it easier for ourselves? It's just fun.
That's interesting. So it's like a learning process and an exchange.
It's 100% a learning process always.
It's like skating with a group of friends.
Yeah. And that, I mean, I feel like it lends very well to Southern California as well.
Right.
I think that's why beer has grown so big in Southern California that that culture is already there.
Yeah.
And you just apply it to a new trade.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that SoCal lifestyle. Like, yeah, we talk about this a lot. Like, you know, with our music, like that's basically OPM. Like, you know, like obviously not like, you know, none of us are like in the contention for like the greatest rapper or the greatest singer or the greatest guitar player, you know, that stuff. Like, you know, we're all just, you know, creative guys or whatever, but we were like the skate culture.
Yeah.
We were selling like the lifestyle, the SoCal lifestyle. And yeah, and like the growing up in the skate culture here, which I know, you know, you and I have the same
Definitely did.
you know, background
grew up in
in
San
that
Diego.
culture, whatever. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and so like in every aspect of things, like, you know, you didn't just skate, you also probably surfed and played football or basketball or something else too, whatever. It wasn't like one thing. But then with music, there wasn't just one genre of music with skate culture. That was like the best thing to me about skate culture was that it was hip hop, it was metal, it was punk rock, it was hardcore, it was like all
collaborative.
It was very collaborative, all the stuff. Like anytime you went and skated in some, you know, no matter how, you know, where it was, you go and skate with a group of people, whatever. It was like, you know, one day you're listening to Slayer and one day you were listening to the Beastie Boys or whatever, you know.
Which is very much what it's like in this brewery. You're here all week. Like Monday's Metal Monday.
Yeah.
Tuesdays kind of a freestyle, go for it. Wednesdays Wu-Tang Wednesday.
Yeah.
Thursdays Skate Punk Thursday.
Yeah.
Fridays Gangster Rap Friday. So we're all over the place and everybody's having fun. We're just trying to do something cool, you know.
Yep. It's definitely what it's all about. Which is interesting because you know, that's definitely why like the SoCal kind of, you know, whatever lifestyle thing, whatever it transcends globally. You know, like I think everybody like, and I think like as I was listening to somebody the other day on I think on Instagram or something like that, talking about like it was Geddy Lee. You know Geddy Lee from Rush,
Oh.
the singer, and he played bass.
Okay.
He was talking about like you can't be original if you live in a vacuum. Like you have to the more sort of
Inputs.
what's that?
Yeah.
Like inputs.
Yeah, the more inputs, I guess, or the more inputs that you have coming in, the more you have the ability to be creative, which like contradicted with kind of like
inspires you in different ways.
yeah, exactly. And I was like, wait, but if you live in a vacuum, then like you have no choice but to be original or whatever.
Right.
But like you would, if you were in the vacuum, more than likely, you would probably just end up doing something exactly the same as somebody
Yeah.
else. You know what I mean? Like so, it's the opposite of what you think. So like the more inputs, like you said, the more inputs you have, the more then you kind of like can draw from all those influences, but then still try and carve your own.
Yeah, do your own niche
path,
or
yeah.
wherever it's going.
Yeah.
you know?
Inspiration is interesting too, though, like because it could inspire something that's not even that. But
Yeah.
to be in a vacuum, it would be very boring, right?
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, can
Try
you
to
imagine
inspire yourself. You know what I mean?
listening only to one genre of music, and then you only listen to the Beatles, and then you hear like Slayer.
Right.
Like that's going to be a shock, but it's going to inspire you probably to think outside of that box.
Right.
Yeah.
Got some more beer. How come I got more than them?
Drink. Yeah.
That's weird. You go.
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
We're
there
good.
we go. Okay. Oh, that makes it nice. We should do that every time so that we know the one with 4 is on one side. Got it. Okay, cool. I'm going to keep that down. So this is the 3 side and the 4
Wait a
side.
second. So
the 4 side is on the left and the 3 side is on the right.
yeah, but
Got
so
it.
we're one of them we're not comparing.
One of them is just, I believe it's just Brittany, the Brittany Teho. It's the Naughty Pine Teho collab. We were just
okay.
going to taste it.
So I want the 3 on the right.
I have I have the 4 on the left, the 3 on the right.
Some of these I feel like I might be able to tell just by looking at them.
Right?
Oh, Dante, you're getting cocky.
I spent like 10 years doing taste panel.
So the C, the lone C,
Mhm.
is the creature of the dark.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, so. But we can do TNT,
TNT.
TTs.
TNT Dynamite. I know this. Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything.
Top left T is the light.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, Dante's just gonna get this one right off the bat. Do you have a guess as to what? I mean, maybe not what brewery it is, but do you have a guess as to what style this one might be? It is distinct. It's not a like a 1-to-1. Obviously, this is like the light is our American lager.
Yep, American
This
Light Lager.
Yeah, and this one is not this is not an American light lager.
It's definitely got a malty character to it that light is not showing. I still want to say it's some sort of lager though. I'm not exactly sure what it would be more other than a Pilsner, but it doesn't taste like a Pilsner, so.
Kolsch.
Kolsch, there you go. Yeah, it's a little bit more funky, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Kolsch to me is a little bit more funky on the nose and on the taste.
Yeah, this definitely has some funk, a little bit of funk,
Yeah,
but it's nice. It's smooth. This is also everywhere.
yeah, a little sulfur maybe,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but that's what you get off those beers.
Which is what we were talking about before, like the less is more thing. Like to be able to get something like, look how light that is compared to everything else we've seen tonight.
Yeah,
For these guys to do that,
4.5%.
yeah,
Like
that
this
light,
beer is just a crusher.
that delicate, with like nothing off-putting in it, is like really fucking hard to do.
Yeah, that there's no sulfur on that one.
Yeah.
Like it's the carb I think is there, and that beer is probably a couple months old too.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's still tasted fresh.
Yeah. I mean, this is like
There's no sign of age on that beer right now.
none. It's incredible. I've been drinking this for months. Like
I
this,
mean,
I've been, like, I've been drinking this
one of
every
my
day.
one of my dailies when I get
Yeah.
when I'm getting off. I'm
Yeah.
having a light.
I don't know how many times
It's
you've
so
been
good.
like, hey, you want a beer? I'm like, sure. What do you want? I'm like, I don't know. And you're like, you want a light?
This is what I'm drinking. It's weird because I'm here every day, so I'm like tempted to drink every day. So like I love that we have the light,
Yeah,
you know, because
yeah, we got to keep that one going for sure. I
Yeah.
think that's a special beer that
yeah,
that not everybody can pull off. Great.
no, exactly.
There's a lot of light lagers out there.
A lot of people come in and want the lightest beer too, right?
Yeah.
Like they ask for that, right?
There's both sides, right? So a lot of people come in, they're like, "What's your lightest beer?" And a lot of other people come in like, "What's your what's your highest ABV beer?"
Right.
Exactly.
Like, you have that 11% triple IPA on. No, sorry, that's limited.
No, it's crazy too. Like I just I'm drinking this and I'm thinking about moving on to the next one. Like where there's no like my palate's totally ready to rock. Like
Yeah,
I don't.
it's
need,
almost a palate cleanser.
It is exactly. Yeah.
Hmm.
Like I mean there's no residual at zero residual right now. Like I could go fresh to the next thing, whatever it is.
Yeah, so that there's a lot of corn in that beer, which gives you that little bit of sweetness that's in there.
Yeah.
Also lends to that lightness. But Pilsner malt, corn, very little hops, and just let it go for about 5-6 weeks, and then it's ready to rock.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to H.
H.
I'm hoping
Double H's.
I'm hoping that these ones look heavy. I'm wondering if we should we go to B first?
Should we go to B first?
Probably go to B first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go to B.
Good idea.
Okay,
BBs.
and I'm gonna tell you. B has a. I have to give them some
Context.
context. This is a trick question.
Okay.
I think I know what that means.
Yeah.
I don't know that I know what that means.
I'm just warning you now.
So B on the left, I think might be Mammoth Crush.
Yes.
Okay. Does that mean B on the right is Tarantula Hill Pale?
Close. It's Tarantula Hill.
Blonde.
Yes.
Yeah. You can taste that honey in there.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be like a collab or something like that, or whatever.
No, it was just yeah. I mean, a pale and a blonde, and they were both ours. So I didn't want to like.
You can tell the difference is the color for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. The pale and the blonde.
Tell me, John knows about this Mammoth Crush.
Mammoth Crush was something that we've been wanting to do forever. Mike, the brewmaster here, him and I, since we've met, have always gone up to Mammoth. His parents own a house up there, so it's been a spot for us that we love going up. We made a lot of friends up there, so getting our beer up on the mountain has been amazing for us. Like just seeing our friends posting beers up on the mountain, snowboarding and skiing and hanging out is awesome. Like it's so cool. And to be able to throw the name Mammoth on it and everything else has been really fun for us.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we got super lucky. Like obviously, we were able to get Stone to distribute our beer here in Southern California, but then we were able to get Mammoth Brewing Company to do our distribution up there on the mountain. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, up on the mountain, in the bars, like on the ski lifts, not just in the bars, like in Mammoth,
Right.
Yeah.
like up on the ski lifts, which
Yeah.
is really cool.
We're in the Vons up there in the town and doing really good up there. And then also Bluesapalooza.
Yeah, the best festival that you can go
It's
to.
like the best beer festival there is.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
In the middle of the woods,
I feel
in
like I feel
Mammoth.
like you rub it in every time you bring it up.
I know. Well, 'cause
I
you got to
wanna-
go.
I
Like,
wanna go to
lock
that.
it out next year.
You should do a podcast from there.
That would be awesome.
Let's do that.
We should do that in the mountains.
We'll just walk around and pick out a brewery. and
go to
just
the
like,
breweries.
you.
Yeah, come into the booth.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody
You
from
do June Lake up there.
yeah,
Do a podcast with June Lake. Those
That
guys
would
are
be rad.
wild. They're fun.
they are fun. Yeah, it's so good. It's just a good festival, and then it's also like all the bands. It's all
Yeah.
blues, like legit. Like
Yeah, we had Trombone Shorty last year.
Yeah.
I've seen him.
Robert Cray.
yeah,
Some great blues and jazz musicians.
there was those sisters that played last year. What was the name of that band?
Ooh, I forget that.
They were so
They were
good.
great.
And I started following them on Instagram.
I
from
think
last
I think I know who you're talking
Tell me
about. I
that.
can't think of their name. It's two
There's
sisters.
They're two sisters. One of them like plays the pedal steel, I think,
Yep.
and the other one
Slide.
plays guitar.
Yeah.
And they're so good. They're playing again next. I just saw they.
It's so
announced.
underrated, man.
I think
like,
they might be headlining this year.
it is legit some of the best music that you
Yeah.
can just go and see at a beer festival.
Yeah,
You know?
it is very unique. Yeah, it is so cool. Yeah, it's just cool. I mean, obviously there's so many different cool beer festivals, but that one it's just unique.
The
It's
vibe is
Vibe's
just there.
on
you know?
point. Yeah, yeah. And the Mammoth Brewing Company, like they're just rad. Like that, they do that. And then the June Lake guys are obviously the homies, and
Yeah. Good
it's so fun to go and just spend time with those guys. And yeah, they definitely get wild. Like it's
Is it a Larkin Poe?
yes,
Yeah.
We're both like yes.
Yes. Larkin Poe. Shout
I
out
bet-
Larkin Poe.
I bet you sent them to me.
I probably did.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah, they're
Check
so
these
good.
people out.
They're so good. They're like, I was blown away when I saw them live, and then I started following them. I was like, holy shit.
Well,
these
anytime you like put like families together singing,
folks- yeah, the
and harmony.
harmonies are DNA lock.
right?
You know,
yeah.
think, like what are some of the great family, like the Partridge Family,
Yeah. My wife's family when they sing
yeah.
together.
The Isley brothers.
the Isley brothers. Yeah, like anybody, if you have the same DNA and
Yeah.
you hit those harmonies.
My
it's
wife's
like,
family, there's 8 kids, and then the parents, and when 10 of them sing together in like 5-part harmonies, it's
Yeah.
like feel like,
Yeah.
like
It's-
what
it's
is
crazy.
It's like that scene from what is it? Anchorman or not Anchorman, Step Brothers, where they're
Oh,
singing
yeah.
in the car.
But they don't have the DNA.
Yeah, they're stepbrothers.
But-
What was I was just gonna say another. Oh, the Hanson brothers,
Oh yeah.
like one of the most sellingest bands of all time. Those
Yeah.
Right.
The fucking
Mark and Donnie
Jackson
Wahlberg.
5.
The Jackson
Jackson
5
Five.
Yeah.
would be probably the best example.
Jackson 5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something DNA voice like
It's weird.
yeah.
Because there's
And there's
the
some
voice is so unique. Every voice is so unique, but then like obviously like if you're your brother, sister, whatever, like you're a lot closer than anybody else could possibly be, and it's
I think they just have this other innate ability to lock in.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that sibling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's hard locking in on that level. It's crazy.
Do I get another point up on this one?
Dude, you got 2 points for that one.
Two.
Two. That was
Let's go.
Right. I think we missed one of them though. Again, I think we missed the one before that pointing.
Did we?
I feel like we did.
Do another one. I'll put it in post. Over the. There you go.
All right. Okay, well let's
Winner.
go back up there to H.
All right, H is out.
These are both. So these are the biggest beers so far. These are stouts.
Double H. They're both stouts.
Yeah, these are stouts.
Yeah, that's maybe it's a dumb question, but what makes it a stout? What's the
Like how you're brewing it, the malts that you're using. So I'm pretty sure this is the grade, right?
Yes.
So the grade is going to be it's a heavier beer.
mm-hmm.
You're going to, so we work in a sugar content ratio called Play-Doh. And so your lowest that we get is about 1.2 Play-Doh, which will be our IPAs to get them really dry. Our stouts are finishing around 3.2, 3.5 to keep them a little bit more full-bodied, to just have that mouthfeel where it's a bigger beer. And in the stouts, you're going to use the roasted malts, you're going to use chocolate malts, crystal malts, kind of blend them all together to find the right combination that you want for what you're looking for in that beer. And then in this particular beer, it's a Imperial Russian Stout, and then we're aging it on, not really aging it, but resting it on vanilla beans, cacao nibs, and coffee.
Yeah. Wow.
So we're using local ragamuffin coffee to rest it on. I think this one in particular, we got vanilla beans from Madagascar, which I don't know if you guys know, but vanilla beans are stupid expensive.
Right.
I do know that.
Is it ice cream?
You should know that.
I use a lot more vanilla than you guys do over
About
there.
$300 a pound or something like that.
I know that we buy 5 gallons,
Yeah.
and it's $2,000.
Okay. Yeah. So we're
nuts.
buying the
for
beans.
the vanilla that we use in the ours
Yeah.
is like liquid. Yeah. Obviously, you guys are getting straight beans, so yeah. Mine is vanilla extract basically,
Okay.
so it's more processed, so it's more expensive. But
So can we go start a vanilla farm?
that
right.
would be
Yeah.
So the best vanilla comes from Tahitian and Madagascar.
We do a lot of Tanzanian.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, I mean, the Tahitian vanilla is, I think, the highest, which is what we use in our vanilla ice cream. And then Madagascar is probably right there with it.
Yeah.
Mexico actually makes great vanilla.
Yeah.
We definitely use some Mexican vanilla and some stuff. Yeah, but if we could grow vanilla here, I think we would, obviously.
I bet growing
Yeah.
vanilla is hard. Otherwise,
I think
it'd
it's very
probably
hard. Yeah, I don't know.
be a
if
lot
You would
less
imagine
expensive.
somebody's tried it somewhere
Yeah,
else.
for sure. Because they're beans, and like beans are.
But you look at like hops. Hops are very much a geographical place where
Yeah.
you grow them. So
Yeah.
it's Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
It's Australia. It's
Yeah.
there's some in South Africa. There's a lot in Germany, which is very similar. Pacific Northwest.
Right.
And then New Zealand. But they're also growing them in New Mexico. They're growing them probably in a farm down the street. You
Yeah,
know what I
for
mean?
sure
So you
they
could
do.
probably do it on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah, we were actually when we were doing the landscaping here in the beginning, we looked into growing some hops here,
yeah.
and it's doable to grow hops here in Thousand Oaks. But then we found out that if dogs eat hops, they could die.
Yeah, it's poisonous.
Yeah, so we were like, we want to be dog friendly too. So
Right.
and it would have just been aesthetic, obviously, when we
Yeah.
grow enough to actually use in the beer.
The
and
yield would
probably,
be very low.
yeah, it would be low, and also probably not
Probably-
great.
Yeah,
you know, so-
replant every year.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah.
That stout Pugilist is an Irish dry stout.
That makes sense. Yeah, perfect for St. Patty's Day.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
a
what's
little
the
bit lighter.
What's the difference? Yeah.
So it's going to be, like I was saying, our stout's finishing at about 3.2 Plato up to 3.5 Plato. This beer is much drier, and you can taste it on that mouthfeel.
Yeah, for sure. It's
So
drier.
it's going to be lower down there, probably in the 2s or even in the 1s.
Okay, I'm gonna sound really stupid here, but like, is there hops in this?
There's hops in, I won't say every single beer
Yeah.
because we've made beers without hops,
Yeah.
but there's 100% hops in there.
Okay.
And it's probably some noble hops just to bring out a little bit of that earthy character that you're going to want in that Irish dry stout.
Yeah. Okay.
And obviously the homies at Society, so
Yeah, for sure.
making a great beer.
They definitely know what's up at Society. So, do you think they must be growing hops in Ireland?
I'm sure they are. Yeah.
Because you figure in Europe, they're not so much collaborative. You know what I mean? Like, they're not like Irish breweries aren't using German hops.
I bet at this point they are.
I mean, maybe at this point, but
Yeah.
like traditionally.
We have a buddy that was lucky enough to go over to Scotland for a while. So met a lot of those guys over there at Brewdog.
Yeah.
And it's interesting there because when you go there, they're in Ellen up in Scotland, and there's not much around. It's an oil town, so they're bringing people in to go brew there, and they're from all around Europe. They're from Turkey, they're from Ireland, they're from Germany, they're from France, they're from everywhere. So they all have different perspectives on beer, and they're basically going there to get experience and go back home.
Right.
And one of our good friends, who Mike and I both met, he came to Escondido and brewed with us at Stone for a little bit too. He's from Ireland, and he went back after brewing there. He went back to Ireland to go open his own brewery. So he's definitely using New Zealand hops. He's using German hops, American hops, everything.
Nice.
I think it's personal preference.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. That makes sense.
Okay. And the last one, no mystery, but just wanted to sip it and taste it. The Creature from the Dark.
I'm loving this beer.
And then talk about that experience with Brittany. Obviously, was just here and she talked about it. So let's hear.
Yeah, Brit's awesome.
Yeah.
She makes some.
Sorry,
of
I've been calling her Brittany. Yes.
Brittany,
of
Brit.
course.
she
No,
makes.
she prefers Brit. she got mad at me for saying Brittany.
She makes some of the best lagers that
Yeah.
I've ever had.
She's rad.
Really?
Yep.
And that's why we wanted to do this beer with her.
Yeah.
Because from the beginning, Mike and I have talked about it, and we were like, okay, if we're going to brew this style of beer, we need to get these certain people in here to make us knowledgeable about it, because we weren't brewing these kind of beers when we were at Stone. So to brew a Schwartz beer with Brittany is, I mean, you're brewing with one of the best Schwartz beer brewers, in my opinion, in the world.
Yeah.
She's killing it.
Yeah.
And this beer, the caramel, the roastiness, the toffee that's in it is
Yeah.
just, and it's light.
Yeah.
It's 4.7%. So
Yeah.
you can crush this beer, and you're still getting a full flavor experience with it.
Super good. Yeah, Brit is legit.
Yeah. So again, with the collaboration part of it, like she didn't have to just come over and give us her recipe and say she could have done anything else. She could have given us something weird.
Right.
But that's different for this industry. If she asks us, hey, how do you brew liquid candy? I'll give her a recipe, you know. Be like, here, brew it. It's
Yeah.
going to taste different on each system. So
I remember you told me that before, and it has a lot to do with the water, right?
a lot to do with
And-
the water.
And they're actually close.
Yeah.
They're, closest of any brewery, I'd guess, right?
Yeah, them and Pedals,
Yeah.
probably.
So, like, if they probably could get the closest to, like, a liquid candy.
They would
or
get
something.
they could get very close to it, but also it depends on what your system size is, what your brew system size is, what your fermenter sizes is, how your temperatures are when you're fermenting, how you dry hop it, everything. Like, there's so many steps to things that it's going to be really hard to exactly replicate a beer. So that's what's great about just helping out other people, is that even if they make the same exact beer, it's going to be different.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, one of the things that's really cool, like, I usually try to always speak positive and try not to talk negative about anything, but, like, you know, all things are not created equal, and there's so many breweries in Southern California, and, you know, some are just clearly better than others. And I obviously have an attachment here because I'm a part of this thing or whatever, but I try to be objective as much as possible, and like, just you know, obviously getting to taste beers from all different places and whatever, and like like I sometimes, like, look at breweries and I see them kind of struggling, and I'm like, you know, sometimes they have, like, a great brewer, but they're like, they are fucking everything else up.
You also got to have that support. Like, we've had the support from you guys from day one to get us the equipment that we need, the people that we need, like everything, the budget for the hops and everything else. You have to have that support in place as well, or else you're going to be, if you're not comfortable, you're not going to be creative.
Yeah.
And having that support and not having to worry about all those other things lets you be a little bit more creative in my
Yeah.
eyes. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, we've been able to be very creative and come up with some really cool beers, and
Yeah.
like we're very thankful for the equipment that we've been able to have and everything. So
Yeah, and I've told Jeff many times, and I'm sure other people too, but like I look at it like running this operation. I mean, my experience in business is being in the music industry. I came into this knowing nothing about the brew industry. Obviously, I've been a fan of drinking beer since I was like a child.
15,
Yeah.
12.
Yeah, so like I mean, obviously I love beer. I've always loved beer, and it's always been like a centerpiece in my life, and with friends and all that kind of stuff. But the business aspect of it, I knew nothing.
Yeah.
So coming in here, I applied my knowledge, my business knowledge, which was in the music industry, and I look at this place as if I'm running a record label. That's my knowledge, and I look at like you and Mike. You guys are the artists on the label, and a good record label. What they do is they just give a clean slate, a clean palette for the artist, and they just nurture them and allow them to be creative and give them the tools that they need.
That's a great way to put it. I've never really thought about that way,
Yeah.
but it makes sense.
That's my approach. Like that's what I'm trying to do for you guys. I'm trying to make your guys' life stress-free, let you guys create, give you the palette, give you the tools, like you say, give you the people, and let you guys bang out hits.
Yeah, and I think it's showing in what's being produced here. I think we're doing some
you
of
guys
the
are banging out hits.
we're doing some really good beer here.
Yeah.
And whether we're winning medals or not, like that's not what we're worried about. We're just worried about putting out really
we
good
don't have
beer.
time to play the medal game. Like
Exactly.
we're on the grind.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I think.
Yeah. I
you
think
know,
that'll come.
It's just a bonus. If
it's
we
a
get
bonus
it, it's a
for
bonus.
sure. No, but it's like, yeah, that'll come. You guys are making award-winning beer, whether or not, and I guess we went sidetracked a little bit. But my point was, without talking shit about other breweries, basically, but like, some places have great brewers, bad infrastructure. Some places have great infrastructure, but just bad brewers.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and that's what I feel bad talking about because they're artists, and I hate
wouldn't even say bad. I think it's just
Or
inexperience.
yeah,
you know?
whatever the case may
Yeah.
be. I feel so like the fact, like if you're starting a brewery and you're able to find one good brewer, you're really fucking lucky. You're like, whether, like you said, even if it's just experience.
Yeah.
But it's more than experience. It's also
There's a passion,
There's guys who have
there's everything
experience,
else
but then
for
there's
it.
also guys who are artists.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the guy who's a true artist and experience, and like you and Mike are both artists and have the experience, like have not even just experience, you have stone experience, like which we talked about earlier, like how important stone is to the big picture of the game, and like it's like we like the fact that we got like to get one would be a miracle. To get two of
Right.
the caliber is like it's pretty intense. Like we got lucky.
And I think it's
All of us
Appreciate
kind
it.
of got lucky together.
We
you
did.
know?
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
It all came together and it worked out.
yeah, crazy.
And I think to keep with the analogy too, and going back a little bit with some of the stuff you said about Stone, great talent begets great talent. So
Yeah.
if you have good talent wants to go there. The
Yeah.
companies that have the best talent are the best companies, right? And so it's like what comes first, but like you start with the right people, and
Yeah.
more of those people want to come to that and be
Yeah.
a part of that. And not only is it, I see a bigger picture here. You know, my whole background is building teams. Is like you also have the person that understands how to package something. So you could have a great album
yeah.
and have no distribution
Yep.
and horrible packaging and no idea how to get it out there. And you guys also figured that out. I think getting Stone to distribute is better than any award you can possibly
Yeah,
get.
for
That was
sure.
great,
And-
and that was something that we all pushed for because
Yeah.
we Mike and I coming from there, we knew how they treated beer. We knew that they had a respect for beer, whereas I won't name names and stuff, but a lot of these other places they do not. You know, they'll deliver your beer warm. It's just they don't have that respect to where you keep your beer cold the whole time. It's going to stay better longer.
Right.
And it's going to be better to your customer. You're going to make more money, everything.
Yeah.
And they've invested in that, and I think that's a huge part of it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they definitely clearly care about their customer.
Yeah.
and that's like for your distributor. That's all you really want.
Yeah.
You know, like care about the people who are getting the product and know where they are and how to get to them. Yeah, they're amazing. I mean, it's been
Yeah, a lot of good
nothing
people.
nothing but good with them.
Yeah, a lot of
you
good
know?
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you guys really put the full package together, though. I mean, each piece of it, and obviously things, you know, you're always striving to keep on getting better, and different people come and go, and you know, you're always trying. It's a moving piece, but
No, it's crazy. Not only always getting like, and also, I mean, you guys, you guys came in swinging. Like, you guys came in great.
Oh, we
like,
were ready. We were ready.
Yeah,
to,
you guys
we were
were
ready to be
ready.
creative. We were ready to
Yeah.
have some fun.
Yeah. Yeah,
we were
you
ready
guys
to
were
throw
like,
out some
you guys
recipes
were
that
ready
we
to
had
throw
going.
down when you guys came in. You're like, yeah, like you were talking about earlier, like, oh, you put it in there for like 6 weeks and maybe whatever. Like, honestly, I mean, how many beers have you guys made since you've been here in 4 years? Like,
I would have to check. I
It's
mean,
hundreds.
you would look at what most people look at. Maybe I won't say their name because they're not a sponsor of the show, unless Untapped wants to be a sponsor for the MNO Show. But yeah, I mean, you go on Untapped, you could probably see how many we've done.
Yeah.
We've probably done a couple hundred at this point.
yeah.
And
And honestly, no, I'm not even, like, maybe 1 or 2 of the beers that you guys have made were like,
yeah, and
like, and they were like, you've never made one bad beer. You've made 2 that were like,
we've made a
in
few that were like, okay, this isn't our best.
Yeah.
But like,
and there
it
was
wasn't
like,
undrinkable.
it
No,
was
they were
definitely not undrinkable. but
definitely
it
not
just
drinkable.
was-
We drank it all. So everyone's
Yeah.
we've never had to throw away a batch of beer, or
Yeah.
we've never had one that like was like, oh shit, like nobody bought it and that we had
Yeah,
to
that's
chuck
never
it.
happened.
So every beer has been amazing, which a lot, like, it's crazy. Like, a lot of beers have to contend with that.
But
Like, there's
it's,
breweries that have to throw away beer. Like, that's never even been an issue for us. So that's like, I mean, that in itself speaks volumes of how good these guys are. And then, and that's just saying like 2 out of a couple hundred that have just been like, I mean, whatever. But
well, it's a lot like
most-
cooking. You might burn something a little bit
Yeah, every
sometime. You
now
might
and then.
overcook it
For
a little
sure.
bit. You might, and working with machinery, there's always going to be things that go wrong.
Yeah,
Every
there's
single
human error
time we
everywhere.
work with this equipment,
Yeah.
there's something that goes wrong.
Yeah.
But when you get experience with it, you learn how to mitigate those things
Yeah.
and make it better each time and kind of work around it. So
But most of the time, you guys are making bangers.
appreciate
Like,
it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm proud of the beer that we make here. I'm
Yeah.
very proud of it.
yeah, I would be, if I was you, I'd be pumped. Yeah, I mean, I'm proud of you guys. I'm proud to be a part of this. It's like the whole thing is like, it's overwhelming. Like what,
We
what we're doing
weren't supposed to be here at this point. We were
Yeah.
we were supposed to still be growing at this point, and
Yeah.
then COVID happened, and we had to pivot, and
Yeah. Yeah.
we just made choices, and we made the right choices,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we've been crushing beer since.
Yeah. It's crazy. Okay, what do we got? Chef. This is our classic margarita pizza. Fresh tomato sauce, fresh basil, fresh mozzarella, sea salt. And then Chef made us this amazing margarita on the rocks.
Oh yeah.
It's homemade margarita mix and tequila. Which tequila did you use? That little bottle that we had? Or is it the one from yesterday? Yeah, okay. There's a Blanco, which we're super excited because we
Excited for
finally
this
got our liquor license. What was it?
Ooh.
Añejo tequila Baja cocktail. So basically, what's that? What'd you say? Baja cocktail. Añejo tequila, which Chef made. He made basically he added some tequila into the mix.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Excited for
Thank
that
you.
one.
Thank you, Chef.
Thanks, Chef.
Okay. All right. Well, let's taste this pizza.
Let's.
I mean, a lot of people judge pizza places on their margarita pizzas, right?
That's right. Because it's actually for the same reason, maybe. You tell me. Like the light you know, whatever, like the lightest beer, where like the less, you know, like, you know what I mean, like this is the simplest version of the pizza.
Yeah, you can do it simple. You can do it
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Pretty damn good.
So if you watch the show, we do a segment called Tool. So theory of overall logic, as John has put it. I think we explain it differently. We each explain it differently. John probably explained it best because it was his thought. But it's kind of like what kind of tools have you learned along the way, and things that you use in your life that you've kind of those things that you're like, oh man, this works, you know. So I just use it over and over again as kind of one of those tools.
Yeah.
So that's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it, it's like, with the knowledge that you have now, what kind of advice would you give someone that's younger?
Okay.
I don't know if that's where you're going with, like.
Yeah, and then I
Those-
was going to say
those kids?
specifically, like, and I think we actually kind of touched on it with Brit, like, with, like, what's it called? Participation trophies. This kind of current participation trophy culture
Okay.
where, like, it's kind of a basic concept, whatever, but, like, it's very damaging to our society, I think, where, like,
Yeah, everybody gets a pat on the back for
Yeah.
just being there.
so the kid who, like, didn't do shit
Yeah.
gets a fucking trophy, and then the kid who busted his ass and practiced every day in the backyard with his dad or mom or, you know, whatever the case was, like, wait, why did that guy get the same trophy as me? We beat the shit out of those guys, you know, like. So it's damaging to him, and it's damaging to the kid who didn't do shit and still got a trophy. Like, so, and then earlier in the podcast when you were talking about the parents,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, yeah. So I mean, if you want to go even deeper into like that mentality of like the parents that were like you had mentioned, like, you know, oh, I didn't, like, the kids, like, oh, they're just in denial.
Yeah.
In a sense, like, yeah, no. We all watched Johnny punch the kid, and then
Yeah.
the parents of Johnny say, I
No,
didn't.
he said he didn't do it.
Yeah, so, like, this, like, it's crazy. It's like everyone feel like, I don't know, what is that? What is that?
Yeah, that's it's a tough one, right? I'll start with like the things that I've learned, like the tools that I'll use, you know.
Yeah.
And
Hops. No, just kidding.
there you go. I think one of the biggest thing is just like learning to work with, and I don't want to say lead people, but like guide people, I think. And be the whole collaborative part of it is just treating somebody like they're an actual person, and it doesn't matter whether they're a specific gender or whatever it is. It's a very inclusive industry, and I think that being in this industry has taught me that, whereas like where you can just treat somebody normal, you know what I mean? And when I was working at a desk job or other things, it was very different. And here, just being able to be that person to guide people and treat somebody like normal, how I would want to be treated, has just been huge. And it's carried over into my life. It's carried over into my relationship. It's carried over into everything. And I think that's a huge part of what this industry has taught me.
Yeah.
Is just being a person first and foremost, and treating people the right way.
Yeah.
Whether it's a woman, a man, your sexuality, whatever it is, like everybody's a person.
Yeah.
And treat them right, and you will get such a good reaction from people if you do that, you know.
Yeah.
You're gonna get a genuine reaction. You're gonna genuinely care about the people you work with. They're gonna genuinely care about you. You're gonna want to hang out with them inside and outside of work. You're gonna care about their families, everything. And this industry has taught me that it's very inclusive like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest thing that I've taken away from this industry.
Yeah, it's empathy,
It is.
right? That's what you're talking about. You're talking about being
In business, you don't get a
empathetic.
lot of that.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Yeah, and yeah, like empathy is a huge part of the culture here at Tarantula Hill, and I know for sure, because I know you run your team, and I feel like you and I, whenever we talk about our team members, we always align and on that, and
I'll have a guy that's like, hey man, I'm so sorry, but like I gotta take tomorrow off, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, no problem, man. Like,
we figure it out.
Life comes first.
Yeah.
This is a business. It's a job. Like, we got to get shit done. But also, like, it's more important that you're there for your family. It's more important that you're there for your significant other, anything like that. Like, and I've learned that from a lot of people that were above me, that were my bosses.
Yeah.
People like Mitch. People like a guy that we worked with, Andy. Like, a lot of these people taught me a lot, being a manager, to actually care about your people, and then they will in turn care about their work and care about what they're doing.
And it's interesting in my mind as you're talking about all this, I'm trying to find a way to get back to like totally separate, like that's all rad, and then I'm trying to get back to the question in my head about the parents that we were talking about. And there is I can find a correlation. And empathy being the correlation where, and it's weird. It's like, I don't know. I'm gonna take my time because I need to formulate how to get it out.
For me, that part of it was just like not having time for that bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have time for you to tell me that your kid didn't hit me and hit that other kid in the face, because
you're wasting
he
my
did.
Time. Yeah, you're wasting my
but
time.
I'm trying. I wanna find a way to humanize and have empathy for the asshole parent right now.
Oh,
I
still have empathy,
Yeah.
because they're probably busy.
No, but I think that they don't have faith in others being empathetic to them.
Well, here, let's
I mean?
look at, like you say, you don't want to say negative
I
things
think
about
everyone wants to
people.
be perfect.
I think I'll put it in my perspective. If one of my kids hit someone and I was told they hit him, and I asked my kid, "Did you hit him?"
And they said no.
And they said no. It'd be it'd depend on which kid I was asking what I'd believe.
You got a gang of kids, so
Yeah. So I mean, it depends on which kid.
yeah, for sure.
You know, there's some that I'd be like, I don't think you're telling me the truth.
Yeah.
Others, I'm like, I know they tell me the dead truth.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yep.
And that's it. And
I
if
have one of each
and,
too.
and,
yeah.
and if the one that I totally believe told me that, and now I only have one of those,
yeah.
and the teacher, I wouldn't believe the teacher.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
okay,
fair,
that's
because
true. That's fair.
You know
yeah.
what I
you
mean?
also
Yeah.
know your kids, you know?
Yeah.
And,
But I mean, like, so yeah.
So thinking from the positive side, maybe it's just that, like, at least that parent has faith in their child. You know, I mean, maybe that.
Yeah, but
I
okay,
can see how it's wasting
But
your
in
time.
Dante's instance, it's different because it's the like. Okay, so I have one of each, right? I have one. Like my daughter lying is not in her DNA.
Yeah. She's just gonna
never
say the
lied
truth.
in her life, and there's so many times I'm like, "You're lying," and then I find out she's telling the truth, and I feel like
You feel
so
horrible. Yeah.
Johnny he's the kid. He will punch the dog in the face right in front of all of us. We're like, why did you punch the dog? I didn't punch
do it.
the dog. Like, it's his instinct to lie. And it's crazy. So, but like, and so in some ways, like, so let's say I'm the parent and I'm with Johnny and I'm in your place. Like, it's fucking embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like when my kid
No,
goes
I
and punches,
get that.
like, I can't, I have no,
Yeah,
and
no,
he
you
wants to
can't do that,
punch
yeah.
everyone. You know, he punches just random people
It's
in
not
the
like
balls
it's
on
not
the
like
ring.
you taught him that.
I didn't teach him. He was born this way, right? It's kind of embarrassing, but a lot of people feel like they're embarrassed, and they're like, "You're not going to have empathy for me if I," you know what I mean? Like they just feel like they don't feel like. But like for me, I feel like I'm a little different because I'm like, if I say, I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, like that's what he does. Like I'm not in denial about it. I'm just, and it's because I understand, like he's just a fucking kid. He's 4 years old. He's born this way, and he's a all boy. He's fucking crazy.
Oh, he's just having fun.
He's just
it's fun for him. Yeah.
Right. So I don't have any shame.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I was never like, oh, your kid's terrible because he did
No,
this.
of course
I was just
not,
like,
of course.
hey, like,
Yeah, knowing
he
you,
did
you're
this,
in,
like, this other kid cried and
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
else, you know,
Yeah.
it was bad. But yeah, I mean, I didn't feel. I was just bringing it up to
Yeah,
the
no, for
parents
sure.
to be like,
no, and
hey,
I know you. You can't be more empathetic than you,
Yeah,
right? So like that's what I'm saying. Like what the fuck is wrong with these people? Like, but I
think they just think they have better things to deal with than somebody telling them
Yeah.
that their kid hit somebody in the face.
I guess.
They're like, oh, I just got off a long day of work.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is the last thing
I
I want
think
to hear
they're
right
I
now.
think they're embarrassed.
I would
and
imagine they're embarrassed.
And
as
they
well.
think it's like I think a lot of people think it's my fault. Like my
Oh,
kid's
yeah.
a little shit because I didn't do something right, you know.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's like they were just born that way.
And
you
a
know?
lot of those kids,
Well,
like
sometimes
I would
parents-
see more than their parents.
yeah,
Like I
Oh,
would,
yeah.
I would be there at the beginning. I'd get there at 6 a.m., watch their kid from 6 to 8 until school started, and then I'd go home, I'd go to the gym, do whatever else I had to do, and then I'd come back at lunch, work for 45 minutes during lunch, and just like do the whole yard duty thing,
yeah,
and then go back home, eat lunch, hang out, come back for after school from 2 to 6, and their parents would pick them up at 6.
kids are still there.
They're
Yeah,
done with their homework.
Yeah.
They eat dinner and they go to bed.
yeah,
You know, they see their kids for less time than I see them.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it too. They're, like you said, they're embarrassed because they have to provide too. They have to
Yeah.
do what's right for them and their family and their kids, and they feel bad because they don't have the time to
Yeah.
spend there.
It's not black and white either.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Some
yeah.
of the kids
No, there's
that
a
punch the
million
kid in the
cases.
face and the parents denies it is probably the kids punched the kid in the face because of the parents in that situation.
Yeah, sure. There's
And it's
different
not
situations
like,
everywhere.
you know, maybe like in your situation, you know, where Johnny just decides to do that.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't teach him that, but there are some parents that aren't great as parents.
That's true too. Yeah, for sure. And I'm not saying I'm the greatest parent or whatever, but I'm not like I think I feel like I'm not shameful. Like I don't feel shame in that he does that because I am not I don't want to send like a mixed message here too. Like I'm obviously super responsible for how he turns out. But like
He's
I always
also going to be himself.
he's gonna be himself. Like it's like there's that George Carlin bit where he goes to this whole bit and he talks about like how parents are, you know, like your parent, you think you're trying to turn them into you, and which never works for anybody ever, right? Like he's saying like you're
they
born
wanna
who
be the
you are,
opposite.
and your job as a parent is to just not fuck them up. Like just don't fuck them up. Don't try and change them. They are who they are. And I totally believe that. And it's crazy. You see like a little baby, and you start to see these little characteristics, and as they grow, you're like, that's still there. Like that's been there since they came
Yeah.
out. And you're like,
Crazy.
what the fuck? You know, like
Yeah.
these little things.
You
they're-
watch an old video,
Yeah.
and you're like, wow, they still do that.
they're still that person, you
Yeah.
know, and like they were born that way, and you don't really realize that when it's happening when there's babies. So then, like when you have your second child, you start to see these things, and you're like, oh yeah, this Johnny's like he's a little shit. Like he's just a little shit. He's always gonna be a little shit, you know. But
thing with kids that are like what I would call Johnny is independent,
yeah,
and like he's going to be very good at taking care of himself.
for sure. Yeah.
So some of those kids that I think are the challenging, which is kind of ironic, is like I think probably my most challenging child watches your children.
yeah.
You know, because Kennedy was very challenging because she just knows what she wants, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I was a terrible child. I was terrible. Like I was a little shit. Same thing. And the harder that other outside influences people tried to
Yeah.
you know, shut it down, the more I
The more
learned
you
like
rebelled against
yeah,
it,
you
and
know?
the more you try to do your own thing.
yeah, exactly. And like that's cool, but also at the same time, like what you can do, and like which is like what the tool thing is, right? Like is the common sense, trying to teach common sense and not assume that kids are born with common sense because they are not,
No,
right?
they learn
You
from the people around
have
them.
to
They
learn
learn
them,
from
right?
what they see. They
Exactly,
learn from what
and
they
like,
do.
Every time those things happen, when Johnny punches the kid in the face, this is a learnable moment.
Yeah.
This kid needs to be taught. That is disrespectful to another person, right? So if the parent, which
Yeah,
is
you
which is
made
what-
that person feel bad.
exactly, which is what's perplexing is that the parent is saying no, it didn't happen. They're in denial about it. Where when they should be, like that's where we're trying to say like
Yeah.
that's the moment where you say, hey, I need okay, thank you for pointing that out. Let me let me teach.
I'll work with them.
Let
You
me
deal
work
with
with
that.
the kid right now.
Yeah.
Just like don't be. It's not your fault, But if you deny it, now it's your fault because it's gonna happen again. Because the kids are so fucking smart. Like, oh yeah,
They're always trying to figure out where those lines are.
They see they're manipulators. Like they punch a kid in the face and they look around, see if I get in trouble, and then you're not allowed to punish them in that
Oh,
situation.
yeah.
And then the parent comes in, and the parent doesn't do shit about it. They're like, oh, hell yeah, I'm
That's like
punching
when a kid
motherfuckers
falls
tomorrow.
down and like is about to cry but looks at you
Yeah,
to see your reaction, and then they start crying.
yeah, exactly.
Because they want a reaction.
Yeah, yeah. That's some crazy stuff.
Well, cool. Thanks for
Awesome.
joining us, and again for always giving us beverages.
Hey, thanks for having me. This is fun.
Thank
Cheers.
you. Cheers.
Cheers.